Hey everyone, welcome to Make Your Peace, a 4YE podcast about Wynonna Earp. I'm Catherine Meushaw,
And I'm Lara Hayes.
and today we'll be discussing Season 2, Episode 10, I See a Darkness. And as per usual, before we get into it, we wanted to say thank you for all of the feedback, especially for last episode. We got quite a few people telling us their theories and everything, and that was a lot of fun. So thank you, keep letting us know what you think and sharing the podcast. We really appreciate it. This episode picked up right from where the last one left off. So Nicole gets attacked by Widow Mercedes, who thinks that Nicole has the third seal, and Waverly comes in because she was, visiting Nicole to kind of apologize and everything. So she interrupts, they fight, Nicole gets bitten, hospitalized because of the Widow's toxic venom, and then the gang has to work to save Nicole, with Wynonna working to find Mercedes and later Nedley, who gets kidnapped, and extract the venom so an anti-venom can be made. And Waverly goes off on her own and makes a deal for the cure with a couple of shady people. The blacksmith's sister, Greta, aka the Iron Witch, and Widow Beth. And we found out that Nicole has a wife. Or possibly ex-wife, but I'm pretty sure they're still kind of married. So, where do you want to start, Laura?
I want to start with the episode title. My first thought when I saw the title was Waverly. We've had several people reference like her dark corners. So I really thought we would be exploring that in this episode. I was really excited. Or that we might see a side of Waverly that we thought had vanished with Gooverly, and we kind of find out it's still there and still a part of her. A lot of people I noticed were, disappointed in her this episode, that she rushed into a bargain with Greta and not Beth. And we're going to talk about blanket promises in a minute, but I guess they were mad that she didn't trust her sister, but I wasn't really very shocked. She hasn't had Wynonna back that long, and love makes you do crazy, irresponsible things. And after having watched the episode, I view the title more as just an omen, a darkness on the horizon, dark times ahead, which makes sense. I mean, we're coming up fast on that finale. So I was a little let down. I did kind of want it to be about Waverly.
Well, I mean, and I guess you can argue that it was Wynonna because of the how she approached this episode, and you can argue there was a darkness in Wynonna with how far she was willing to go to get the venom to cure Nicole.
That's a good point.
And there's that, and also Dolls as well. Dolls encouraged Waverly to give the seal to the widows. So maybe it wasn't Waverly, but there was still some darkness to be explored in this episode in an interesting way.
True. And plenty of shady dealings to go around.
Yeah, just a little bit. just a few. Frustratingly so. And I've mentioned it before. One of my biggest pet peeves is when something can be solved with a simple conversation.
Yeah.
If Wynonna had been honest with Waverly about the seal and had told her everything that she saw when she took her trip to the past, it would have saved some trouble. And I think it would have saved Nicole and still left the seal in their possession. So it was kind of frustrating, and I get really easily frustrated with stuff like that, because I want to reach in and shake them and just be like, just frickin' talk. So
I actually had an almost identical note. We really saw all those little breakdowns in communication really coming to a head in this episode. People seemed really hung up on Waverly kind of working on her own to get this anti-venom for Nicole instead of waiting for Wynonna. But Wynonna was hiding the seal, and I know that she was doing it to keep everyone safe, but then Nicole becomes collateral damage. Waverly seeking out help from not Beth and Greta instead of working with Wynonna. I don't advocate it, but, who kept the third seal a secret first? I think people need to acknowledge that, and I think I get why Wynonna did it. I know that she was, trying to protect the people she loves, but Nicole was blindsided and Waverly was blindsided. And I don't know why it took Wynonna so long to read her in. Here we have these little like training montages and, like, are you only comfortable? Do you set the terms of her being part of the team or does she set them, So, yeah, I think that there was distrust on all sides, and I'm with you. It was really frustrating. Also, yeah, you're right too. Like Dolls did give Waverly a cosign there, like to take the third seal. It's not like she acted completely in the dark.
Right. And I want to touch on a couple of things that you just said, mostly because, like, Wynonna, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, Wynonna is fiercely protective of Waverly, and I think that's part of it, and it's, like, she doesn't want to put people at risk, and I think that was, this was how she viewed being able to do that, and, because, I mean, look at Nedley. She didn't tell Nedley what he was keeping, she just told him this was a really important thing. And he got hurt, 2 people got hurt, and, like, Nedley didn't, like, he heard Wynonna saying this is big and this is important, this is major, but he didn't really, I don't think he really quite would have understood exactly how apocalyptic, I guess, it could be if somebody got on that ring. I know she stressed it, but, stuff like that. So it's like different people are being put into danger anyway, but I think she's still fiercely protective of Waverly, so she really tries to shield her. It's why it took her this long to train her. I mean, why she doesn't really want to read her in. She kept trying to sideline her, even with, oh, you stay here with Nicole at the hospital. Like, that wasn't just stay with your girlfriend. That was, I need to keep you out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's frustrating. And, like, I know Wynonna kept the secret first, but it's so heartbreaking at the end there when Wynonna is almost skipping down the hallway to tell because she's so excited. She solved the thing. She did a good job. Like, she did this thing and she saved Nicole, and she gets there and realizes that, like, she's so happy. And then when it hits her that Waverly betrayed her and didn't trust her to do this thing, that's heartbreaking. Like, Melanie's face. I almost sent you a picture of that, but no, I mean, that moment is so heartbreaking. It's just, so hard to watch. Melanie's face, man.
I agree with everything you said, except for what you said about Nedley, because I think he would totally get the stakes. I think he would absolutely understand how apocalyptic it is. He was my MVP this episode, man.
It was
I know, it was like one-liner after one-liner. He was just keeping her busy. He just kept taunting her. He was taking those punches, man, joking about the actual demon rodeo, which was so funny. Oh my God. And you really got this sense that, like, this dude has seen some stuff, like, that maybe his whole, like, general apathy is just because you honestly can't shock him anymore. Like, it has to take so much to really, like, engage him because he's just so worn down by all the crazy. But I loved him in this episode. I thought he was fantastic.
That's one of my notes. It was a great Nedley episode.
It was.
I mean, and he's one of those characters that is really, like, because in the beginning of the series, you're like, all right. And then by the end of, this first season, you're like, okay, I kind of like him. He can be pretty cool. Like, he's going to be kind of chill. And then, he shines because he just, like, I mean, he knew that what it was that he knew it was important, especially because Wynonna was asking him for help and she doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, like, if he really took her seriously, and that's all I was saying is, like, I don't know if he really took her seriously with, like, how big it was, but he took her seriously enough to know that he shouldn't say anything. And the way he tells her, like, I didn't break. I didn't tell him anything.
Yeah.
It was a really great Nedley episode. I really enjoyed it. That was definitely one of the highlights of the episode for me. Just Nedley, which is, I never expected to say that.
I was also really surprised by, like, how invested I was when Wynonna crashed through that barn door and said, give me my Nedley. I was like, yeah, give us our Nedley. Like, it was weirdly intense.
Yeah, and I mean, like, because he's one of the secondary characters that you're just kind of like, okay, he's kind of cool, like, and he's just really grown on you this season, especially. Well, the second with the promo where we see him in danger, it's like, oh no, like you can't take our Nedley away. So it was a really good Nedley episode with just everything, and I'm kind of looking forward to see where he ends up with the rest of the like by the end of the season, like if he's done his part, or if maybe we'll see him pop up with something fun later, and even the little moments like with Calamity Jane.
He loves that cat so much. He bought her an extension post. I don't think he ever fed or watered her. I really hope that cat is okay.
I'm sure she is. She's a cat. They're pretty resilient creatures.
Yeah. She was in the closet, though. Like, how long was she in that closet?
I don't know. Maybe there was a cat door we didn't see, like, or maybe she has another way to get out. I'm sure Nicole has ways to get out of the closet.
I just worry.
I'm sure the cat's okay. I mean, but no, I related hard to Nedley, and it's like, because I do that too. Like, I'm not a cat person as far as I don't want to own them. Like, they're fine when they're other people's, but I'm not a cat person. So it's like, but there's a couple of people's cats that I like really like, but I kind of like to act like I don't. So Nedley spoke to me on a spiritual level a few times. But now that we're talking about Calamity Jane, I had two things I wanted to mention. One, I really enjoyed the fandom nod because the second that Nicole mentioned that she had a cat, I think the fandom kind of took that and ran with it and decided that she had a cat named Calamity Jane.
Yeah.
But it was a severely missed opportunity to not name the cat Calamity Jane.
Aww.
And it's true.
Alright, I'll give you that one.
That was a delightfully bad pun. I'm aware of it, but I'm not gonna take it back because I still think it would have been fabulous.
Yeah, there was that one, and then there was the hot damn shout out later.
Yes,
Yeah, Valerie Ann, Punky Starshine, like everybody doesn't follow her. Let me explain who Valerie Ann is, right. Anyway, she said something really great on Twitter that was, she was talking about how during season 1, I know you did and I did, we all used the hot damn hashtag before we realized that the Earper fandom was safe and inclusive and a place where, we were welcome and free to gather. And I don't know whether or not Valerie listens to this. She was totally right. It was a great shout out, and it was cool to think that it's no longer applicable because we don't need it. And that's really amazing.
Yeah, we don't need our own little gay area of the Earper live tweet because it's pretty inclusive. So yeah, I saw that tweet and I really appreciate it because that the hot damn it made me really happy. I love fandom nods like that aren't too like. I like it when it's stuff like that. Like I said, like the Calamity Jane and like the hot damn. It's stuff that fans will catch, and that it wasn't it's not a stress to put stuff like that in there, and it's not like they went out of their way really. But it's a nice little like, hey, we see you guys, and we love you guys. So I liked it. It was also on my list to mention. So yeah, that was pretty fabulous, and just again, but like I can't think about it without thinking of Wynonna's like excited face, and then the heartbreaking one that follows.
See, I'm the nice co-host because I'm not spamming you with pictures of that heartbroken face right now. Like that's how we know that I'm the nice one.
Oh, okay then. Well,
listen to her. She's going to find it. She's going to send it to me. I left my phone on the other side of the room, so you couldn't do this to me again. I'm not kidding.
I'm not going to do it. That's rude again. I can't do that to you 2 episodes in a row.
Yeah, we got to space it out.
Yeah, we do, but that doesn't mean I won't send it later when I'm screen capping for my recap.
That's fair.
I know. And that also doesn't mean it may not get used for my recap either.
Yeah, I brought that on myself.
Yeah, you did.
I know.
You really did. So anybody who has a problem with that, you can blame Lara for all of that punch in the feels.
I'll take it.
I can't believe you left your phone so that I wouldn't
I
spam you.
really did. Yeah, it is on the other side of the room.
Well, take away my phone. Check that off my list. Alright. So, what other initial kind of things did you want to get into, or what big thing did you want to tackle first? Because there are a lot of them.
Well, yeah, I think we probably do have a few things. So, kind of sticking, with the start, that fight sequence in Nicole's home was it was sick. I loved it. I was a little disappointed in Nicole because I don't know where her sock gun was, but she did not have her sock gun. And so that made me kind of sad because I was like, there's no way there's only one firearm in this whole house. But she did redeem herself with that epic couch jump headlock combo. I was feeling that.
Yeah, I have a question though. Okay, so we see her get knocked down, and then she's struggling to get around. So when she was knocked down, did she mess up her ankle or something? Because then she's crawling around, and it's well, obviously you weren't too hurt because you went bounding over the couch to get to Waverly. So what? I have questions as to why she was dragging herself around. That really took me. It honestly because I know it was a pretty good fight sequence between Waverly and Widow Mercedes. I still think the Dolls and Lucado fight several episodes ago was one of the best fights in the series.
Oh, it was.
But so it's just, but that Nicole bit kind of took me out of it a little bit because I'm like, what's going on here? Because you didn't really I watched it a couple of times and I couldn't really identify because Widow Mercedes kind of pulls her, but it didn't seem like she pulled her hard enough to mess up her leg or anything. So
it was for the drama, Catherine. It was to raise the.
I
have no idea how she hurt herself or whether or not she was hurt, and I don't know why she only had one gun. That was, yeah, I don't know. But headlock, that was pretty cool. Next time,
yes. And the over the couch. The over the couch was cool. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, her crawling around, it just kind of pulled me out of it a little bit, but it was cool over the couch and the headlock. It was very badass.
I also really liked Waverly's word vomit outside of the ER. That had to be, I said it, I think I said it on Twitter too, it had to be a personal best for her. For most secrets spilled in the least amount of time. It was just I'm a cheater. I cheated. I kissed Rosita. Oh, she's a revenant, by the way. It was just rapid fire. And even Wynonna kind of had to shake it off afterwards. That was beyond help. You know what I mean?
Also, about that tiny scene, the Wynonna Earp Twitter posted a behind the scenes clip of them filming that because apparently Dominique had trouble saying I'm a cheater because she's a Brit trying to say I'm a cheater in an American accent, and apparently that was just a struggle because she kept saying I'm a cheetah.
Yes, I have.
So if any of you haven't seen that, you need to look at the Wynonna Earp Twitter and find that because it's really funny. It made me laugh. So you have to find that. But yeah, I know. It's Waverly. How long did it take her to bust out with Rosita's secret after telling her that she wasn't going to say anything?
Approximately 20 seconds, Catherine.
No, I mean, just from how many hours has it been? 12 hours since she told Rosita? If that, it hasn't even been that long. Oh, I'm not gonna, no, it hasn't, no, sorry, because I forgot brain fart, I forgot where it happened. So it's been 3 hours maybe since she told Rosita, I'm not gonna tell Wynonna, and then she goes and tells Wynonna. You didn't need to do that, Waverly. What are you doing?
Yeah. I think it was just overload, and I think to relieve stress, she was just jettisoning all of her secrets, all that baggage, she just could not carry it while she was dealing with Nicole's injury.
Yeah, I just she's so bad at keeping secrets.
I really loved I wonder, I don't know if you saw, I don't know why I found this so funny, Catherine, for the life of me. I swear I don't. But I don't even know how many times I've watched this scene now because I just crack up every time. When Jeremy showed up at the hospital and he was like, and, Wynonna was like, what were you able to gather on the widows? Is this all your research? He's like emptying out his messenger bag. There's a piece of like white computer paper with an actual, like a printout of a Black Widow spider on it.
Yes.
I thought it was so funny. Like, he's doing all of this research, and while he's doing it, he prints out an actual, like, picture of a Black Widow spider that has nothing at all to do with the widows except in name. I thought it was so fun. It was so stupid, too. It was just this little printed out photo. I loved it.
Well, it didn't. Because remember, Greta later tells a story of the Twisted Spider Sisters, referring to the widows. And someone in Whiskey and Donuts pointed out, in the Whiskey and Donuts hangout, I believe it was Reese and Emma. Yeah. Emma pointed out, the widow costumes, now that you have that, like, spider image in your mind, look at the widow costumes and, like, how they're kind of shaped. They're shaped a little, like, spider-esque.
Yeah, I mean, all the lace sort of reminds you of webs and, like, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was kind of, I thought it is a little funny. He's just got, like, this printout of so I agree, like, it's just kind of, like, let's research, and then, like, instead of just having, like, because it was just the picture. It's not like it was a picture that was a page of information about Black Widow spiders.
Right.
It was just the picture. So, yeah, that was pretty good. It's like, Jeremy, what are you doing? But she said everything, and I guess he just needed that for reference for some reason.
That's what I liked. She said everything, and so he literally brought, like, every Google entry under widow. And I thought it was hilarious. He
brought everything, including Optimug Prime, that sadly had a tragic end.
Poor Mug.
Yeah, it's always upsetting when a Mug suffers. It didn't do anything. It was just an innocent victim. It's alright, I'm sure he'll find another one. It looked like a pretty generic Optimus Prime Mug.
I think not Mercedes, like, third seal magic needs some serious work. Those were some ambiguous directions that her ring map gave her, and it really made me root for Not Beth. I think she's the more methodical evil of the two, and I respect her process. So by the end of it, when she was the one with the seal, I was like, all right, I was rooting for that sister wife. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I mean, the magic wasn't wrong. She just read it wrong. And it was funny because she just automatically assumed that it was Nicole. And I was interested by the fact that she just kind of completely discounted Nedley. But I guess that's the downside to stealing the face of somebody who hasn't been in town for very long. And for not kind of doing the recon that I guess she should have, because...
See?
To assume that Nicole is the only person in the sheriff's department that has any relationship with the Earps or means anything to the Earps ended up not being a very good line of thinking.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like, Not Beth is like keeping a close eye, watching what everybody's doing, and then she sees Nicole in the hospital and she's like, this is my moment. She's an opportunist. She's a girl with a plan. I want that in a villain.
Yeah, but I think, the Widow Mercedes is also getting a little bit more desperate. She's kind of rotting a little bit.
I'll give you that.
I want to know why. Because Widow Beth is not. And I wonder if it's because if it's because real Mercedes is alive still and getting help now, so she's deteriorating as real Mercedes is trying to recover and heal, with the not having a face and everything.
That's a cool theory, because it's also, like, on her face. Like, it's, like, on the top of her head. So what if Mercedes is, like, growing her face back mystically? I honestly just thought it had to do with that Peacemaker gunshot, because, like, the last time that anybody talked about, like, the wound on her arm, it wasn't healing properly. It wasn't healing as fast as it should have. So I thought maybe if the gun couldn't kill her, it was at least weakening her considerably. But I kind of like your theory better. I like any theory that gives us back Mercedes with her face.
Yes, please. Like, that was another, like, just moment in the hospital with Wynonna coming in to talk to... I really want Mercedes back, because it's really important to me that Wynonna has friends, especially, like, she's got Nicole, but other than that, she doesn't have that many, like, friends, and she and Mercedes are very similar, and they're, like, they get along very well, and I really just want Mercedes to, like, have her face back and be okay, and just she and Wynonna can just go hang out and be friends and everything, because I think Wynonna really needs that.
Yeah. It normalizes Wynonna, and it's nice, especially like in a town that has just tormented her entire life. It's nice that she had somebody in her life for, a part of this season, that got a kick out of her and that liked her and, never believed that she was crazy. It didn't minimize everything that Wynonna had been through, but it was nice to know that the whole town wasn't against her, at least growing up, maybe she had Mercedes.
Yeah, I mean, and even, like, I appreciated when she was first introduced, when Mercedes was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I should have stood up for you more. And acknowledged that, she could have been a better friend. But, I don't know, I want Mercedes back. And I do like Danny Kind, so I do. I really want Mercedes back, and I'm hoping they find a way to recover her. I like it. I do like the thought of her regenerating mystically somehow. Maybe she can get her face back when the widows die.
Yeah.
She's just borrowing it.
It's purgatory, man. Anything's possible.
This is very true. Yeah, I thought it's very interesting with the two widows, and I thought it was interesting how apparently, not only, like, the bite doesn't just, like, inject venom, but apparently somehow Widow Mercedes knew that Nicole was telling the truth after she bit her.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too, that she could, like, read it in the blood or whatever.
And to that extent, like, how much can she get? Could she have just bitten Nedley and gotten the seal information? Or could she have just bitten Nedley and known, okay, you're telling me the truth that you have it, or whatever, like, to get to know that he has it? Like, I have questions about how that works, but I thought that was really interesting, how she bit Nicole and was like, oh, you don't have it. My mistake. That's embarrassing. I'm gonna go. I'll be back later.
Yeah, but now I just want to know why she didn't bite Nedley. I mean, thank God.
I know.
But yeah, you're right.
I mean, if she had bitten Nedley, and if she had been able to get the information about the seal, she would have bitten him and done it. So maybe it just kind of, she can tell something, or I don't know. I have questions. If anybody has any ideas, let us know, because I don't have any theories about that one. So I'd like to hear other people's if they've got them. It was weird, not in a bad way, but I liked it. What other big thing? What big things do you want to talk about next? Because, like I said, I have a few, and I know there's a lot of Nicole stuff to talk about, and I know there's a lot of Waverly and Wynonna stuff to talk about.
Well,
I think,
weeks ago, one thing that really stuck out to me in this episode weeks ago, when I outlined, like, possible paths for this pregnancy storyline, one of them that I thought was very probable was that Wynonna would give up the baby to protect it. And this week we have Ewan and the Order offering to take the child and to hide it, which I don't love. I love it considerably less than I did when I first pitched that idea, and I didn't love it then. I've been getting really attached to this baby bump. I think it's all the high fives and stuff. And while ultimately I would understand hiding the baby, I'm really hoping that it doesn't happen now. We've gotten much more, I think, from this storyline, certainly than I ever expected. That single mom superhero line being, something I never thought I would hear on TV. That's the storyline that I want now. That's new and fresh and different. So that's going to be a little hard for me to take if it ends up going that way. Even though I kind of believed it would go that way all along, now I'm really not feeling it.
I thought it was interesting that he mentioned, like, BBD as a possible group that could take, like, he's rattling off, the demons that'll take it, the cults that'll take it, like the one you used to work for, and then made a comment about BBD kidnapping dolls after Dolls was like, BBD doesn't, they're not kidnappers or whatever, baby snatchers, whatever he says. And I thought that was interesting. Like, I want to know more about. There were a lot of like throwaway things in this episode. It felt like there were a lot of like throwaway things that I want more information about. And I really hope I get more information about, because it's just like, it was more interesting to me than some of the stuff that was happening, I guess, in some aspects. Like, I want to know more about Dolls. Like, what was that? What was he even talking about when he's like, oh, they, weren't you taken or whatever? Like, I want to know more about that.
I do too, and I'm wondering if that has something, this whole time I've really thought that, his like serum thing was like a Riley and the Initiative, like weaponized soldier kind of deal.
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering more like, was this in him? Like, is that why he was attractive to the Black Badge division, or like, and is the serum something to like control it? I don't know. I've got a lot more questions about Dolls now than I had at the start of the episode.
Oh, like maybe he's just kind of assuming that it was something that they did, but what it was they kind of just brought it out in him more and learned how to control it.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good theory. I like that theory, because it is there's a lot of questions there. So it's definitely like, I like that though, like how it can be, he was just kind of taken because there was something there, and they just kind of had no idea. Yeah, so I want more information on that. Like, give me more of Dolls' backstory. And it's weird that it came from the Order. Like, what does the Order know about BBD that they would know that about Dolls?
Yeah, exactly. Why do they have all this dirt on him? Why? Yeah, how are these two organizations connected? I agree.
Because, like, why would they have... I get having information on the other players, like Nicole, like Waverly, like Wynonna, like Doc. But to have information that's BBD information about Dolls, what's going on there? Because the Order doesn't seem to work with anybody else. They don't seem to be working with BBD, who was clearing the triangle. So, like, how did they get that information?
Right.
Maybe somebody from BBD is a double agent.
Or, I mean,
maybe that's how.
Yeah, this is a relatively small, like surface area. So there's probably just way more overlap than we realize. Again, we can go back to like what Nedley was saying, like, this isn't my first demon rodeo and stuff. I mean, the supernatural is way more embedded and way more well known. And I feel like than any of us would have thought watching the first season. And I feel like we're always getting a little bit more of that story. We're always getting these little like assurances that Purgatory probably knows how weird it is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think we can probably, I wouldn't be surprised if, the Order were a bunch of rogue Black Badge division agents who like broke off and started their own little cult in the woods, pumping iron together or whatever. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I think it's all like way more entwined than any one organization or group is ready to tell us.
Yeah, I like that, and I'm hoping that's kind of what we learn more about in season 3. We weirdly haven't found out a lot about BBD considering how this season started, so I'm kind of hoping maybe that's a season 3 plot to explore, kind of like a little Buffy season 4-esque with how we learned about the Initiative and everything. Because yeah, there's a lot there, and I'm kind of hoping it's explored in season 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean I really need to see, like, too much more of the Order. Like, maybe just give me an information dump. But I don't think I necessarily need to see all the firemen.
Yeah,
but
no thanks.
I don't know, some people are into that.
And I
maybe if there were more women.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. That's what we're missing. Man, where are all the lady firemen?
Okay, everybody tweeted Emily Andress asking for Lady Fireman. Or, I don't know, just more Lady Black Bat. Just all of the ladies. Just everybody tweeted Emily asking for more.
Ladies, yeah, ladies everywhere.
More ladies. Not like that we don't have enough. No, there's never enough.
I know that you have some really heavy stuff to talk about. So before we do that, let's take a second to celebrate the Buffy nods that we got in this episode, because I felt like we got a few. I mean, we've already compared dolls to, Riley Initiative Soldier and stuff like that. I mean, that's not really new, but...
Or a great comparison character-wise, but
I thought
as far as Riley as a character, not necessarily, like, it's a good comparison, but nobody wants to be compared to Riley.
Okay, thank you. Let me backtrack for a second. I am not calling dolls the Riley of the series. I swear to God, I'm not. I love dolls so much more. So please just keep that in mind. I literally only meant Soldier. That's all.
No, I know. That's why I realized what I said, then I had to clarify and everything, because there's a parallel there.
Yeah. Way to catch it though. The not, thank you. The not Beth ta for now or whatever. I thought that was really cool. Wasn't it Chloe, the Slayer in Training, who said that? She said TTFN. It was 7, and I think she was actually dead at the time. I think it was the first talking for Chloe, but I thought that was really cool. And then, I mean, the whole end of this episode with the, alternate reality, it was very The Wish. Yes. I tweeted, while the episode, I think, as the episode was wrapping, I was like, I really wish all my favorite shows would stop making wishes to vengeance demons. It's gotta stop.
Yes, because, you got me all excited, because time paradox and stuff. Yeah, because the end of the episode, it looks like we're looking at a very Wish and possibly Tabula Rasa next episode, and I'm kind of excited for it. Because, the second Wynonna disappeared and dropped the plate and dolls didn't really react, I was like, oh, she didn't just, she got erased.
Yeah.
And my mind immediately went to The Wish.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very excited for the next episode, because a lot of people were like, who's Waverly marrying? And they're, talking about Nicole and stuff like that. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's Champ.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is, what if Wynonna didn't, oh, can we speculate? Can we speculate a little bit? I wasn't, I didn't have it on my list, but what am I asking you for? Of course we can. It's our podcast.
Yeah.
No, because, the promo, I think it's an interesting timing thing, too, to do an episode like that near the end of the season. It's the penultimate episode, and they're kind of doing a what if. So I'm very excited. I get really nervous about what if episodes, because some series does them really well, like Buffy did with The Wish, and some shows do not do them well, like Grey's Anatomy did with their what if episodes, but I don't talk
Wait,
about that.
whoa. You're not including Dark Lexi in that, though, are you? Because that was amazing.
Okay, look, we cannot go in
okay, all right.
on...
You just shouldn't have put Dark Lexi into this. Okay, so go...
I'm sorry. I just can't... okay, we'll talk later. We'll talk after we're done recording.
Okay.
So, no, I'm really excited, especially because of how the influence that Buffy has on this show, and how the nods and stuff like that. So, I'm very excited. I think we could potentially, as far as the wedding thing, I think it's to Champ, and I think we're going to get a Tabula Rasa-esque. I'm almost sorry for all of the Buffy references this time, guys, because if you don't know Buffy, this has got to be very confusing for you. But if it helps, Tabula Rasa literally means blank slate, which you also know if you're a psychology person. So I'm very excited, and I think it could be we get a Nicole and Waverly don't meet kind of the way they were originally going to, but they still get kind of drawn together, and I think we'll see kind of a little bit of that.
I actually have one of my notes for this, because I have an entire note all about how I think we're coming up on a Tabula Rasa episode. Number one, we have a lot of overlap this time, you and I.
We do.
I'm going with you. She is absolutely getting ready to marry Champ. Completely believe that. Mm-hmm. I really, really hope that the Tabula Rasa note that I have is that I'm really hoping we get an I think I'm kind of gay moment when Nicole shows up. And if she could say those words, that would be amazing. But yeah.
I'm just hoping it doesn't end like that one did with Michelle Branch singing Goodbye to You.
I don't know what you're talking about. I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I remember
I forgot that.
very happy. I remember everything being fine.
I'm sorry. I forgot that didn't happen.
That's right.
Anyway, so apologies, guys, for the Buffy tangent, but if it goes kind of the way I think we're both expecting it to, you're in for quite the tangent next episode as well. So, sorry, not sorry. At this point, you know what you're getting with us and the Buffy references.
Also, sorry, not sorry. There were just a lot of parallels. Like,
yes,
were. So, yeah. But I'm
not mad about it.
Yeah, I know you have, like, really serious, upsetting things to throw at me. And I am as ready as I can be.
You know, for being, like, pretty far into us talking, my notes are still very, very, like, I still have a lot of notes here. But they're all kind of around the same, like, as per usual, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings that surround Nicole. Unfortunately, some of them are being very irritated at not necessarily Nicole, but the writing in this episode. Because I have a problem with the wife thing. Because, to me, it feels very out of character for Nicole to get Vegas married. It feels very out of character to keep it from Waverly. And, you know, it was unnecessary drama because we didn't need the stakes to be higher. Like, they all felt it because Nicole, and because of who Nicole is, they didn't need the stakes to really be any higher or anything. We didn't need it to be reiterated again that Nicole loves Waverly. And to me, this introduction was another, I don't know, like, it felt like it showed more that Waverly and Nicole shouldn't be together than that they should be together. Like, it was kind of one of those weird, like, you know, one of the big things with TV is show, don't tell. Because they're telling us Nicole loves Waverly, Nicole loves Waverly, Nicole loves Waverly. We're not getting a lot of the, I don't know, it's just, it was, I don't know, like, you didn't need to bring the wife in to say, oh yeah, Nicole's got this secret wife that she wouldn't have told Waverly about for some ungodly reason. And, like, I think they're still married. Shay is still wearing a ring. And I saw somebody on Twitter pointed out, and I was scrolling, and I just saw it in passing, that based on the timeline as far as, like, when Brittany was in Vegas doing that show, Nicole and Shay haven't really been, like, Nicole hasn't been in purgatory probably that long, which we already knew, and they haven't been married. Like, this happened very recently. Like, I know things have been busy between them, but I still feel like that's something that Nicole would have told Waverly. Like, I don't really buy it. Wasn't a good time. And I don't like it. It feels very unnecessary. And what purpose did it serve?
Okay.
The only piece of information about Nicole's background that was actually really worth it in all of this was Nicole doesn't talk to her parents. And I had one more thing, sorry, before I let you respond to my ramble. I was talking to a friend, and she did pose a thought that Shay and Nicole are still, like, you know, good friends and remain married to give Nicole a next of kin because she's a police officer. And if Nicole doesn't talk to her parents, she doesn't have a lot of other options. And I also, in this lengthy conversation we had, my friend also posed that the Vegas married thing could have been like, you know, we've seen Nicole drunk and out on all that. Like, it's very plausible that they just made a very stupid decision. It also, adding in the wife kind of makes the Rosita and Waverly kiss completely kind of, it takes away some of the impact of that kiss. So, I don't know. Sorry, that was a lot.
That's okay. That was,
and I'm sure it made some people unhappy. So sorry, guys.
Okay. I'm probably gonna upset even more people here. I really love Nicole, but I really wish everybody would stop putting her on this pedestal. Like, I really wish everybody would just stop.
Yes.
Look, she's a great person, okay, and I truly believe that she loves Waverly, but like, we know that she keeps secrets because she literally just kept the paternity test a secret. Like, she literally just did that. So, do I believe that she could have a secret wife out? Like, last episode, she literally proved that she could be in the same room as Waverly and just lying to her face. Even though, in Pussy Willows the week before, or whatever, she's, telling Wynonna that she can't lie to Waverly. Like, we have so little of her backstory. I think that this was actually huge. And I think that that's a totally valid thing. She could be married to Shay still, because she doesn't talk to her family and she needs a next of kin. Or it could just be that they just weren't in a rush to get divorced because they don't hate each other. And so then it was just like something that they kept meaning to do. They were like getting away from each other. But I do think that they still talk regularly because Shay seemed to absolutely know who Waverly was after Waverly introduced herself. This is not the first time that Shay is hearing about Waverly. But like, yeah, I mean, I love Nicole. I'm not saying that I don't. But, like, does she keep secrets? Yeah, she does. Does she compartmentalize things? Like, now we know that she does. And we also got this piece of, and I'm not vilifying her. Like, there's a really valid reason for that also got dropped this. Now we know that she doesn't talk to her family, right? So she's a very isolated person. If she's not talking to them, we all know that it's probably a coming out gone bad, right? I mean, we're all pretty confident about that. And that, having to live your life in the closet and stuff like, things like that can make a person secretive, or it can make them very good at compartmentalizing to the point that it's self-destructive. They compartmentalize so much. So yeah, I totally believe it. I buy it. She's got a wife she never told Waverly about. I don't think that makes her a bad person, but like, people need to, like, she's not perfect.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. And I think it's funny because we're coming at this, I think, way differently too, because I'm really just, and I know I just had a whole thing last week about like be respectful, and I'm trying. To me, it wasn't good writing. And, but I hear what you're saying, and like, I get it. And the thing is, like, if it wasn't a big deal, then she should have been able to tell Waverly. Like if it wasn't a big deal, it should have been just an offhand, like, oh yeah, like just even a casual mention. I don't know. It's just, or even like she wears a ring all the time, and it's like maybe that's, I don't know. But it's like I noticed Shay is still wearing a wedding ring, and I think that's what threw me too. Like it's so it was really, and some of the editing this episode was a little like I'm not bashing everybody, so please, before you jump down my throat or anything. Some of it was really choppy, like Nedley telling Waverly, I didn't call her parents, and then that cut to the hospital room where Waverly's like, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm Nicole's wife. Like, it was a weird cut. It was so, like, they were trying to build up all of this drama, and it's like, why? You didn't need to why? It was weird, and to me, it just felt really unnecessary.
I think I took more from it than you did. I took more of these things, like kind of illuminating some of Nicole's hidden corners, like she's got this family that she doesn't speak to, and she's got this wife that she hasn't told anybody, about. What else hasn't she told us about? Like, who is she? Like, what's she doing in purgatory? How'd she wind up here? Like, that kind of thing. So I get what you're saying, but that's where I went with it. Like, I took it more like, man, I don't know what she's doing, like
it felt like she was, I don't know. And it's just like, if Nedley knew that Nicole was married, like, it seems a weird thing because of how protective everybody is of of Waverly, to not like say anything unless he knew the situation. And why would he know the situation? Because he's Nicole's boss. So it's just kind of like, I guess it just felt a little sloppy. Like, I get what you're saying, and you have a point. Like, it's showing that Nicole's not as squeaky clean and everything, and I get that. A lot of people are like, oh, it's showing that she's she's got a wild side, and it's like, not really. Like, that's not what we're seeing here, and it's just, like I said, it feels like they're trying to tell us that, Waverly and Nicole belong, like, they're telling us that Waverly and Nicole belong together, that they love each other, all this stuff, even though Nicole has now said it several times and Waverly hasn't said it once to her. But you've also got stuff like this, like, that kind of almost show that they shouldn't be together. They're lying to each other, they're keeping important information from each other, they're, stuff like that. I mean, there's the cheating thing, which I know we talked about last week, and Waverly herself said it was cheating. I'm going to leave it at that, and because I don't want to get into it again in this episode. I don't want to get into it until we see Nicole and Waverly talk about it. So I don't know. Like, I hear what you're saying, and I'm surprised that this isn't something that we're on the same page about. I'm surprised because usually we are with stuff like this. I'm surprised that we read it differently, and I don't know why I read it the way I don't know if it's just I got frustrated with a couple of things in the episode, and if this was just one of them, and it just kind of snowballed into a whole frustration. I'm not sure, because I do think you have a point.
Well, I mean, I think you have a point too, I wouldn't invalidate your interpretation by any means. You've given me things that, to think about with it, especially like your point about like how the scene was edited and stuff like that didn't really stick out to me before. I just remember that I felt very blindsided, and now that you kind of underscored why, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I think that there are a lot of ways to take something like this, though, because it is a significant shade of gray, right, if you will. So I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way to take it. And going back to what we talked about last week, I'm not going to get into the cheating thing again either. But what I will say was that something that I was worried about is, when a wrong is met with a wrong, and how that usually, in shows they're setting us up for a breakup or a timeout or what have you. I think I really did not expect to get a third, like secret or, hidden something in this episode. Frankly, if they don't take a timeout, I will be shocked.
I will be too, and honestly, I'll be, like I said, because they're showing and telling us two different things.
You're totally right. You're absolutely right.
And TV, show, don't tell. Show us, don't tell us. You're telling us that they should be together, but you're showing us kind of that they shouldn't. And I think
that they're just not ready.
Yeah, and it, like, because Waverly, like, this also has come up a few times. Waverly is fresh off from dating Champ. Like, I'm with you. I would be surprised if they don't take a break, and honestly, I'll be a little frustrated. Like, people speculating that it's Nicole and Waverly getting married in next episode, that will upset me. And as I have mentioned, I ship Way Hot. I like drama, and I appreciate that relationships take work, and I know if this is nothing I haven't said before. It will upset me, because it doesn't feel the route the characters need to be going right now.
Yeah.
Especially since Nicole is still married.
Right.
So I don't know. And it's just, I have questions about, like, okay, so she and Shay still talk, probably. We're assuming that. Shay is still down as her next of kin, but she asked Wynonna to pull the plug. So what's up with that? Did she not expect Shay to rush to her side? And if she didn't expect Shay to rush to her side, why did Shay rush to her side? Like, if Nedley knew enough to not warn Waverly, by the way, Nicole is married because it didn't make a difference. These are the things that I get, like, really wrapped up about, because it's like I snowball.
These are literally the thoughts that keep us up at night.
And I defer to our listeners and would really like to hear your thoughts on this too, because it's a hot mess.
Hot mess.
It's a Nicole hot mess. And it's just, I don't know. Like I said, there were a few things that really got me in this episode as far as like the writing and stuff, and that's usually not the case. And like I said, I'm not hating on anybody. I'm not hating on the writers, the producers, or anybody. I'm just saying I don't think it was the best writing. I don't think it was the best plot. I just need to see stuff resolved in a conversation, and I think we deserve that. And I'm hoping we'll get it. But again, we have 2 episodes left of the season, so I'm a little concerned that we won't. Especially with next episode being what it is.
This is super general. So do with that what you will. But I was thinking about that after the episode wrapped, the fact that here we are, penultimate of the season, and we're doing this what if thing. So you got to figure, right? We'll probably spend 45 minutes minimum in this alternate, reality with Wynonna and Doc fighting to get back, or whatever. Not really my point. My point is like the time that we have left. Like we've got this alternate plane that we have to reconcile. We have to get Wynonna back to her time. We know that Sheriff Clutie is going to be risen by Not Beth. So we're going to have a big bad fight in the final episode. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some serious like relationship fractures among the entire like the core crew. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, if you think about it just from a time perspective, we have this Earp sister like keeping secrets thing that we have to resolve. And for the record, we have to resolve that on the part of both sisters. Both sisters were concealing information. We have all of this way hot mess that we've had for the last, 2 weeks, and all this air that they have to clear. We straight up do not have time, Catherine, to cover all of this. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got a really upsetting season finale. Not, things won't stay broken. We know we got a season 3, so everybody chill out. But like, I think we should brace for a heartbreaker. I really do.
I think so. And there's also Wynonna and Dolls to reconcile too, because Dolls pushed Waverly to getting that 3rd seal and giving it to Beth. I don't think his intentions were pure. I think some of that had to do with Doc. His feelings about Doc and the fact that Wynonna and Doc had that, that secret or whatever. I don't think his motivations were pure. And maybe it's something as simple as Wynonna said, do whatever it takes. And Dolls said, okay, this is what it'll take to save Nicole. So I don't know. There's a whole lot there with Dolls. That's kind of like, dude, what are you doing? But he and Wynonna are going to have to figure that stuff out too. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm looking forward for the what if, but the fact that it's coming on the penultimate episode is really going to throw me.
Yeah. Right on the heels of this finale just doesn't leave us a lot of time for resolution. Not unless the finale, I could see wrapping it in a 2-hour finale, but I can't see doing it in 1 hour. I don't know how they would do it.
We'll find out in a couple weeks. So that was my Nicole-related rant, and hopefully we still have listeners after this.
Yeah. I don't know. I did say she wasn't perfect, so there's a chance that no one is listening right now. I don't know.
Well, thank you to everybody who didn't shut it off.
Take it out.
And because it's just, I don't know, like, and I love Nicole. I do. And, there's a lot, it wasn't all bad with her, like we've already talked about her badassness, and the fact that, she tried to give Wynonna information, even though she's, like, in pain, feeling this venom that's burning through her, and she's still like, hey, you need to know this information. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm really not trying to cast judgment on her, y'all. I am secretive as all get out. So, like, far be it from me to throw stones. That's probably also why I'm like, no, I totally believe this behavior. I absolutely believe that she did it. I just relate to it is all. It's, like I said, it's really not a judgment on her or anything. I just didn't personally feel that it was far-fetched.
And I mean, my frustrations with communications come from frustrations in my personal life. So it gets kind of translated into, I get really frustrated with TV. So, we all bring our own stuff. And that's part of what makes TV fun and different for everybody. But it can lead to frustration or, really identifying with characters in interesting ways. And believe it or not, I had another hot mess of a ramble.
All right.
Well, okay, this one wasn't much of a hot mess. You know, Rosita. I wanted to talk a little bit about Rosita and how she was used in this episode. Because, you know, the second Wynonna found out Rosita was a revenant, she stopped treating her like a person.
That's very true.
And it was kind of crappy, considering, like, even Wynonna was like, I like you and you've helped me out, but you're still a revenant. And I thought that was kind of crappy. And I was talking to one of my friends, Danny, who, like, kind of gave me a bulleted list of things that she wanted to, like, that she kind of wanted to talk about. Because it kind of brings up a lot of questions, like, when is it okay to do that to somebody? Why is the fact that Rosita's a revenant automatically takes away all of her, any personhood that she has? And, you know, Jeremy wasn't okay with it, but he went along with it.
Doc also wasn't okay with it. He made the point that though she was a revenant, she could still feel pain.
But it was interesting that, you know, Wynonna was so desperate to save Nicole for Waverly. Like, not that Nicole isn't important and that Wynonna doesn't like her, but you know this was for Waverly. There's a lot, like, it kind of falls under the Shades of Grey thing, too. We're seeing a little bit more of Wynonna's Shades of Grey with what she's willing to do to somebody, I guess.
True.
Because Rosita pointed out, she's like, you didn't have to threaten me. All you had to do was ask. And Wynonna, like, she immediately went, this is a revenant. I have to threaten her to get what I want. And that, like, didn't feel a lot of okay. There was a lot with Rosita that is just kind of frustrating because it's like, all of a sudden, she's not a person. Well, I mean, and she's, you know, she's a revenant, she's a demon, but she's still, like, she's done nothing to earn the treatment that she received.
I liked that Rosita was quick to remind Wynonna of Rosita's humanity, you know? Like, you know, yeah, she told you that I was a revenant. Did she also tell you that I saved her from becoming Tucker's personal Kimmy Schmidt? Like, it was funny, and it was true, and she did. She's, you know, we're more than one descriptor. Everybody is. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, I think that was also some self-preservation because I think she wasn't sure what Wynonna was going to do with her at that point. And I think I find it interesting that she immediately went to, I trust Doc. It must have been dolls. She didn't consider that it was Waverly.
That really upset me, actually. She didn't entertain for a second that it was Waverly.
Because they're friends. And she immediately went to, well, dolls doesn't like me. You know, Rosita kind of got the short end of the stick here. I like that Jeremy was like, this is a world of not okay. Like, he thought she was there to help. Because he's like, hey, this formula is, like, really, I'm struggling with this. Are you here to help? And she's just like, nope, I'm your guinea pig.
Yeah. He also...
And, like, he didn't like
that.
Yeah,
he also, like, the second she walked in, something like, oh, I'm glad they sent your big, beautiful brain, or, like, something like that. Like, you know, acknowledging, like, how smart she is and that he was kind of in over his head and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool, too.
Yeah, I mean, because it was definitely, like, he was really excited because he knows she's smart. He knows that they make a good pair and that they can work on something together. And I get that they needed a test dummy, but couldn't they have just borrowed a revenant from somewhere else?
That's a really good point. Why there should just be a revenant trap or a pen of revenants, like, set up in case of an emergency.
Exactly. Like, they should just go find, like, Wynonna could have grabbed Stevie, the dude in the bar that Doc was playing poker with.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all. Let's inject him with poison.
Now, here was another thing that I found odd. Twice they mentioned that Bobo was dead in this episode without actually showing Bobo, which I thought was really odd, considering most of the time when you've got something like that, like, the audience already knows. So it's not like they needed to make casual references for the audience. It was interesting that they had two characters, though, reference Bobo being dead without showing him. Like, I thought that was leading to him appearing again. I do think Stevie was sent to, like, you know how he wanted in the basement of Shorty's?
Yeah.
I think he was looking for the seal for Bobo. I think Bobo's already connected to the with the Revenants and is trying to, like, say, hey, don't let them know I'm here. But I think he might have been looking for the seal for Bobo.
Yeah, that's a really solid theory. I think you're probably right about that. He probably, you know, came back from hell, like, ready to roll. And
But I just thought it was kind of weird that they mentioned him and then they didn't show him. And that felt really weird, you know, since we already know he's back, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that means we'll see him next episode in some way, shape, or form. Maybe we'll see alternate verse Bobo, considering if Wynonna never existed, like, in that way, not necessarily in a way that he came back the previous episode, you know?
Yeah, we could.
In episode
Yeah,
8.
we could see a purgatory, like, that, but by the time everything comes to a head, is like firmly under Bobo's control because Wynonna isn't there to, stop him or thwart him or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, it gets, and that's a very lengthy conversation that I know we don't really have time for, and it's a lot of speculation for next episode, so we should save it for next episode. But yeah, there's a lot there that is so many possibilities, it's like, what are we going to get? What does it mean for Wynonna to be erased? Because there's, like, stuff to consider with Ward and Willa, with Doc in the well. He got out of the well because of Wynonna, so he's stuck in the well, and does he have the ring? How does this go with who has what, too? And I guess, depending on how this is approached, are we looking at, like, an alternate kind of dimension situation? So Dolls is back in, like, our purgatory in the well, but, like, I don't know. It's a lot. I get excited.
You love wonky time stuff. We're going to be in over our heads now. We're going to be inundated with wonky time stuff in the next episode. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, it'll be, like, all of the notes. I already have so many notes, but all of the notes for next episode, I'm sure. Especially because it's the penultimate episode. Alright, I think those were, like, my big things. I know we have some little things, but did you have other big things? Because I talked a lot, I'm sorry.
I did. I was, like, he got better as the episode went on, but I was, like, really, like, fed up with Doc, like, when we first saw him in the episode, just, like, boozing it up and, his nihilistic outlook and, yes, everyone is fated to die, and that sucks that you're gonna die, but, like, you knew that. You gave the ring up willingly. You got down on one knee to give it to her. So, like, can we stop with the passive-aggressive mortal coil pain? Like, I didn't like that, but what I did like was the whole, like, Doc's luck is running out metaphor with the cards. Yeah, because he kept losing, and, he's this great card player. So I thought that was an especially nice touch.
And I thought you were going to say something different when you said, what you really liked. Because what I liked? It's like he was being kind of a child, but the second Wynonna told him that Nicole was dying, he's like, oh, okay, let's go. And I love that. It once again showed, like, Nicole's kind of, like, the group does love Nicole. And, like, Wynonna tells Waverly that. She's like, we all love Nicole. And the group does. Like, she's one of the group, even if they don't always include her. But, she's important, and she's important to Waverly, and Waverly is important to everybody. But I really love that. I love how he was being kind of a jerk. And he's like, I'm just going to drown in my sorrows. But then it's like, oh, Nicole's in danger? I'm up. Especially with the special relationship that he and Waverly have.
It's cool, too, like, to sort of underscore that we're all better people when we're focused outward and not inward, So that was also nice.
Well said. Yeah, Doc was kind of a pain, but God, that last shot of him in the well.
Yeah.
Major props to Tim Rozon for that. Because that was, I mean, I talk about Melanie Scrofano's faces, but, like, Tim Rozon did such a good job in that last shot.
You got, like, sympathy claustrophobia from it.
I mean, it's just that he's so scared, and it's like, we've never seen Doc like that. We have never seen Doc scared like that. So it's just, he's so great. Like, little stuff like that, just kind of, that's what really hit me this episode.
We also, we had I have a few favorite lines. I think it was a great episode for, like, one-liners and stuff. I think maybe the funniest, because it was so tragic, was this is a whole different Quidditch game. I don't need Star Trek references. Yeah. I need you to tell me what to do. It was just such a swing and a miss for Wynonna. She just lost 5 points for Gryffindor, so I thought that was pretty funny.
Should we talk about some favorite quotes then? Because I have a lot on my list. Like, it was a good one-liner episode.
Yeah, dude.
All right, let's get into it. I have my list from, like, it's a little chronological. So that's how I roll. So, like the Nicole's I'm more of an IKEA kind of girl. Kind of made me laugh. What else? just all of Nedley's lines. I'm just gonna blanket say all of Nedley's lines. From talking about Calamity Jane to, we got no seals here, we got elk, we got pronghorn, we got plenty of loons. What are you, a Pokemon? Just all of Nedley had so many good lines, and I loved them all.
He was seriously the gift that kept giving this episode.
He really was. I would like to send whoever wrote his lines a fruit basket or something. And just, at the end when he's telling her, where the mug was, and Wynonna's like, I'm gonna need it back. And he's like, that's probably best. Jeremy's Silence of the Lambs joke.
Yeah,
Clarice, yeah. We already talked about Give Me My Nedley. And then her follow-up, nobody tortures the sheriff but me. Doc could find a dildo in a nunnery.
Yeah, I think that made everybody's list.
I kind of missed what she said. Thank God for Twitter, because I heard some of it, and my sister was like, what did she say? I'm like, I'm not sure, but I refuse to rewind because I don't do that when I'm watching live. So thank God for Twitter to help me out with that. What else was on your list?
Well, that Hannibal Lecter joke was on my list. I'm a sucker for a Hannibal joke. So I really loved that. I also really liked Not Beth's, all of her interactions with Waverly.
Yeah.
She was just so smiley and upbeat. And I also love that in a villain. I really like a villain who's having fun. So I really enjoyed that. But I think the line that she had that kind of made me laugh the most was when she was like, she's not really my sister. She's more like my demon husband's other wife. And Waverly was like, I don't care. And she was like, but I thought we were bonding. She just had such a good time with it that, as much as you root against her, you kind of can't help but laugh with her.
Right. And it is kind of that, personing, but not, she doesn't person well. She doesn't human well, It's the little stuff, sneaking up on Waverly. Oh, and I already mentioned it, that we all love Nicole and there's no way in hell she's dying today. Sorry, we all love Nicole, baby girl, and there's no way in hell she's dying today. I left out the most important part of that line.
I liked Doc analyzing Nedley's hat size, too. I thought that was awesome.
Yes.
He's a connoisseur of hats, and he's going to crack the case based on this hat. I thought that was really cool.
I like how none of them really registered the fact that Nedley has a dark, I guess it's black or navy or something hat, and Nicole has a white hat and the baseball cap. She doesn't have the same color hat that Nedley does.
That's another really solid point.
So that made me laugh, because I'm like, all you have to do is say this isn't the right hat, but, someone was in danger, I get it, it happens.
Emotions were high.
And, they were. But yeah, I liked that too, where he's all in, he had to have known that Wynonna wouldn't have really registered what he was saying, but he's just all in. I liked it when they opened the closet door, and Wynonna's like, I almost sent you to hell, cat.
I also really liked Greta's horrible, story about the spider sisters that she said her great grandmother used to tell her. Because I don't remember all of it. She talked for a little bit, but I was just like, what kind of childhood is that? That bedtime story makes grim fairy tales look like Veggie Tales. I was like, of course she's evil. Look at what she grew up hearing. Come on. Not to excuse what she...
Yeah. With Greta, looking at Greta, I'm going to completely deviate from our quotes, but, she lost her sister, even though it was weird that when Waverly was like, I knew your sister, and she's like, I don't have a sister, she still has a sister, she's just passed. So that was weird to me, but maybe she was still trying to brush off Waverly. But no, she's viewing them as the people who are responsible for her sister's death, so her vengeance is seems I'm gonna take this chance when I have it. It seems pretty, you can kind of look at it from her end and saying, well, okay, it's understandable. But, yeah, that story, I wish I had, typed it up, but I didn't.
Yes.
It
was, it was nothing you tell a child. But I'm with you. I kind of, one, Waverly shouldn't have made a wish, or a bargain, sorry, not a wish. Shouldn't have made a bargain with somebody she didn't know. Come on now. That's especially not like a blanket bargain. That was just irresponsible.
Right.
And second, like, I don't blame an Iron Witch for taking the opportunities she's been given, you know, for a little vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah, she lost her sister. I'm with you.
Right.
I don't think it's, yeah.
And about Waverly making that blanket argument, you know, one of the best lessons I ever learned in school, I had this 5th grade teacher who used to ask us, because you know when you're in elementary school, anytime the teacher says, hey, does anybody want to help me out with this thing? The hands shoot up, right? Yeah. I had this 5th grade teacher who would tell us, never volunteer for something if you don't know what you're volunteering for.
Totally.
And in the same vein, you never make an agreement with a witch unless you know what you're agreeing to.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this time and time again. We've seen it with vengeance demons on Buffy. We've seen it with the Norn on Lost Girl. Like,
you never, like, you do not make an agreement. You do not volunteer for anything unless you know exactly what you're giving up or volunteering for or whatever. You just don't do it. And Waverly should have known better, but I know she was desperate and thought that was the only way and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I don't think your head was in the game.
No, I don't think so. So, sorry for that completely random Catherine's elementary school experience anecdote, but it felt a little bit relevant because it popped into my head. So, that's what you get with this podcast. Sorry, not sorry, guys. Because no, yeah, I mean, it's just, again, you want to reach in and go, like, what is your problem? While we're talking about Greta really quick, Tim Rozon in Whiskey and Donuts on Friday mentioned that Rachel and Cheryl, I think that's how you say her last name, I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, who plays Greta, actually, like, she was given that huge monologue in German that she actually learned that morning.
Wow.
So I thought that was a fun tidbit that I wanted to throw out there. And they didn't, like, show the whole monologue, but yeah, she apparently learned that entire German monologue that morning.
That's amazing.
Right? I also found it interesting that Doc knew German, because he pulled out a couple of words and stuff like that. It wasn't just him recognizing that she was speaking German, it was he actually understood some of it.
Yeah. Well, we don't know where his family's from either.
Right. I just thought it was interesting. I liked it. I'm not complaining about it. Because, you know, of course he pops in thinking that Waverly's in some kind of, like, danger or whatever, because Wynonna texted him that she just ran off. And, of course, he, you know, ends up getting sent back into the well for his trouble. Because he tries to stop Greta from casting. Which, again, you don't go grabbing onto things that a witch is using to, like, with an incantation. Like, you just don't go grab, like, people just were not thinking. They were not remembering what to do in the case of witch. Was there anything big, little, anything that you wanted to touch on?
No, I don't think so. I think we got my list.
I had a few random thoughts, just a few, like, kind of just random notable things. Did you catch at the end of the episode when Wynonna goes poof, Dolls and Waverly's outfits change?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't see Dolls the first time. It took somebody pointing it out and then me, like, paying attention to a rewatch. But I thought that was a nice little, like, indication that something, like, not everything was right. It was a good use of, like, costuming to kind of portray that. I thought I liked that. I thought it was fun. You know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about the seal.
What about it?
With the seal and just how apparently that metal seems to be something that Wynonna, because Wynonna's, like, asking about what kind of metal is the, not the seal, the plate,
oh, okay.
sorry, the plate. Sorry, my brain is like, we didn't talk about the plate, and how we've got that back now, and Wynonna apparently had an idea before she pooped.
Yeah, hopefully she keeps it. I said hopefully she keeps it. Hopefully she keeps that thought.
Oh, gosh, I hope so. Wouldn't it be terrible if she didn't?
Yeah, wouldn't that suck if, like, they brought her back and she picked up the plate and she was like, I was supposed to do something with this.
Yeah, that would be pretty terrible. I liked Jeremy's lack of tact, mostly because I enjoy how awkward he is.
Same.
I thought it was interesting. Did you happen to notice how Nicole's house was decorated?
Decorated?
Mm-hmm. Remember, like, because we talked last week a little bit how, you know, she gets dressed in blue, like, how she's been, like, featured in blue a lot.
Her house was very blue.
Her house had a lot of blue tones.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So I thought that was also interesting.
Yeah, you're right. I did not notice it while I was watching.
I noticed it on my rewatch, mostly because I do a lot of rewinding and pausing and stuff like that. So it lends to me noticing a lot of weird background stuff sometimes. But yeah, there were a lot of blues in Nicole's house, so I thought that was interesting. But I think that finally does it for my list. All right, so no last minute thoughts?
No, I think I'm good.
Well, I think that does it for us. So make sure you tell us all of your fun theories or anything that you've got for this episode and next. I want to hear all of the speculation. And just to let you guys know, I believe the Make Your Peace Twitter, the DMs are open, so we don't necessarily have to follow you back for you to be able to DM us, I believe. I will check that after we record and make sure. But yeah, you can always, if you've got a theory that you don't necessarily want to tweet at us, you can always DM us at the Make Your Peace Twitter, because we do really enjoy talking to everybody about your theories, and it makes it a lot of fun to speculate. And I think it makes the week go by a little bit quicker when we can speculate with everybody. And we have some really good conversations with people. Also, next week's podcast, just as an FYI, will probably be going up a little bit late. So keep an eye out for that, but it probably won't go up Tuesday following the episode like these normally do. Is that about right,
Yeah,
Laura?
sorry, y'all. It's my birthday. I'm going to be out of town. I will come back and I will get it going as quick as I can, I promise.
Yeah, I wanted to say something while it popped into my head, and I don't want anybody to worry and be like, hey, where's the podcast? Or think that you missed it. You probably didn't. I'm guessing it'll go up Wednesday. I'm hoping no later. So just an FYI, we are going to go up probably a little bit late. All right, Laura, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at rsmayfair, Mayfair. You can also find me live tweeting every Friday from the official Twitter for Make Your Peace. That's at 4YE_MYP podcast. And you can find some of the articles I've written on 4ye.co.uk.
All right, thanks. And you can find me at Meushaw. That's at CMEUSHAW on Twitter, where I will post my recaps every week, and we'll also share the recaps on the Make Your Peace Twitter. And like Laura said, that you can find anything that we've written that's not Wynonna Earp related or other Wynonna Earp stuff at the 4YE site, which is the number 4ye.co.uk. So, as I mentioned several times, we appreciate the feedback. So, give us a share, get us a comment. We will comment back because we really enjoy talking to everybody about these episodes. So, we will see you next week.